It's not even just the drug users who are suffering from this. It's also law enforcement officers. Border Patrol, we know, deals with that. Their dogs deal with it. But this fentanyl, even just trying to apprehend it, trying to get it out of your communities, you're having a huge problem. Tell me about what your deputies are experiencing and when they come in contact with fentanyl and other drugs as well.
Well, and of course, for the first time ever, and probably in your jurisdiction as well, we are arming our patrol officers and our jails with Narcan, naloxone to administer when things happen. We've had incidences in our jail where we've had deputies go down. You know, the intake process, a patrol officer brings someone in, the deputies take over, they do a search. And one particular incident, the first one that happened to my male deputies were, they had gloves on, they had masks on, because as you say, it's kind of in the COVID time frame. But there was powder inside of the personal items of this suspect. And once those things went airborne, both deputies went down, both unconscious. Medical was right next door, of course, called right in. Deputies are administering Narcan, or medical personnel administering Narcan. They were both ambulatory, both sent to the hospital, and then one by medical professionals put on a Narcan drip to save his life. We had the same thing happen 2 weeks later, similar circumstances with female officers. This is I hear, you know, ever since I've been talking about this, I hear people say, well, that's not possible. Medical fentanyl, it's just not possible. It couldn't happen. We're not talking about medical fentanyl here. We're not talking about FDA approved packaged fentanyl that you get administered for pain in a hospital setting. This is street drug fentanyl. This is illicit narcotics pressed in pills in clandestine labs. And these people aren't medical personnel. They're not hired to do this. There's no FDA regulator standing by. How much is going into that pill? How much are you going to lace that methamphetamine with that? How much are you going to lace that heroin with that? That stuff is out the window. It's ridiculous to even think that way. So I hear these medical so-called professionals saying that could never happen. You have never dealt with the dope we're dealing with. This stuff is 100% pure fentanyl. As you mentioned, 50 to literally 100 times more powerful than morphine. And so when these people come in contact with it, you know, people say, well, that just can't happen. I say, well, I'd like you to come talk to my deputies that it actually has happened to, or the state police officer last week that it happened to, or a deputy down in Florida, the sheriff saying he was hospitalized for days and days and days. This is incredibly dangerous stuff. And there's certainly no FDA approval on it or any regulation to it. That's what it kills me to hear people say this, that, oh, that just couldn't happen.
Right.
Explain that to my deputies. They're not just going through a panic attack.